Hello, hi. My name is Chaka Chupu, and this is Chaka's Musings. I want to always, as I do say, thank you for checking in, for sharing, for liking. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, I'm going to talk about something I have titled The Uncomfortable Truth. You know how we say, nobody is perfect, but in one corner of our mind, we don't always believe it. Let me prove to you. Have you ever had an out-of-body experience where you did something so out of character or so, for lack of a better word, really silly, that literally I feel like I left my body. I'm looking at myself like, did you just do that? See, no matter who we think we are or what we think we have achieved as per our moral standard and level of spirituality, once upon a time, or once upon our past, or once upon our near future, we all go out and do something really, really, really silly. Should I tell you? There's a whole process to being able to deal with this and move on without getting stuck. I'm always fascinated by the fact that all the men of old and the saints, all their magnanimous failures were not left out of scripture. Isn't that funny? They could have just cut it out. Let's take David, for example. David slept with another man's wife and then committed murder to cover up adultery. That's an intercontinental scale of falling of hand. As in, that's like a global scale and embarrassment. Now, know that people will know, of course, because servants that went to fetch Bathsheba were there, right? People were there when Bathsheba came out of the king's room were there. People that were there when the commander of the army came and took people knew. So it was probably palace gossip. So know that David had to deal with that, had to ask God to forgive him, but most importantly, had to forgive himself. Think about it. He would have been walking through, people would have been snickering and gossiping. Can you imagine when he now married Bathsheba? So, I mean, this is like a real thing we have to deal with. And even as parents, even if you're not a parent yet, but you will be in future, this is a big deal because most times our children know that we're not perfect. And when we try to put the perfection thing in their face, they know we're lying. So when they ask us questions we're uncomfortable with, for example, you're trying to teach your children on sexual purity, meanwhile you were all over the place when you were their age. It's okay to say, I made mistakes, but I want better for you, than to be feigning or pretending to be something you are not. So I have a very bubbly 5-year-old. Once in a while, she looks at me, she'll be like, Mom, you said I shouldn't do that. When you were small, didn't you do it? And I've had to confess sometimes I did it, but don't do everything I did. Okay? So it's just a call that we need to be kind to ourselves. Okay? I remember Peter. Peter was like Jesus' right-hand man. Everybody knew he was. Then he now embarrassed his lineage by denying Jesus in public. That's hard. That's hard because everybody, he did a public denial 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It's hard. I think it was about 2 chapters in Romans, Paul dedicated to talking about his own struggles with the flesh. I think that we need to really embody the truth that we are not perfect and that our perfection is a journey, and we need to be okay with that, because some of us are being kind to other people. We're quick to forgive other people, but we're very hard on ourselves. I'll just say 4 things. Number 1, if God has forgiven you and forgotten about it, you too should forget about it. Stop living in how could I, how should I, how didn't I? We all do it. I do it too. Sometimes I have what I call out of body experience. I'm like, Chaka, there's no way on the planet you would have done that. But guess what? I did. You can move on, okay? And have an honest opinion of yourself. Some of us, we used to, our opinion of ourselves is a bit overrated. we ourselves a bit overrated. we need, and that's why we don't. We get into some situations because we don't honestly estimate ourselves. We think we can handle it. I'll give you an example. A young man who used to have a drinking problem, he was alcoholic, and then he overcame that. He's like, I'm fine with alcohol. I can still visit bars once in a while. And then 7 years after coming clean from an alcohol addiction, he's back there because he overestimated himself. We need to have an honest opinion of ourselves. If this has been a challenge for you in the past, you may want to stay away from some people, okay? And then lend yourself the same grace you do others. If somebody offends you, forgive them. Forgive yourself too. Okay? And finally, avoid excavators. You know excavators? Those people that have shovels. Do you know that they were, I can imagine people snickering, Peter, leader of church, you that we know deny Jesus, okay? I can imagine people saying, David, maybe when he comes, just give you an example, you have a leader when he comes, you know, like he committed adultery and murder. How many of you will listen to a leader who you know committed adultery and murder to cover it up? So, human beings are very fickle. Some people know your mistakes, they know what you've done in the past or what you did in the not so recent past, and they're quick to say, I know you. If you've dealt with yourself and God, you need to give them some space. You don't need people excavating all your business. Why? Because they're not perfect too. I mean, you can't help some gossip, especially if whatever you did was under public scrutiny. You may not be able to run away from it all. You need to accept that God has forgiven you. With the apologies to be tendered, you need to do that humbly and be gracious and kind to yourself. Because like I said in the beginning, I don't care who you are. You're on a perfection journey. You're not there yet. Okay? Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chiakachuku on YouTube, and check out my website, www.chiakachuku.com. Thank you.